whatever you decide to do, just keep doing it. Open doors, explosive blessings. I expect it every single day. Increase your awareness, being attentive, and being present with your life. Sometimes we move so fast that we don't even pay attention to our own life and where we are. Like, wow. We got to celebrate our wins and our accomplishments. The smallest things to us, that's a big thing. Hey, everybody. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight is the first day of the 5-day live class of Brand the Vision. And I'm just so honored that you decided to join me tonight here on your first Monday night, right? For the new year. I see we have someone from Maryland and Baltimore, Waldorf. Please say where you're from. I'm super excited to meet you and greet you. Hi, guys. We're going to have some fun tonight. I'm super excited just to have this pre-launch event prior to Saturday, which is the main event, Brand the Vision Live Masterclass, that will be virtual. If you haven't got your ticket yet, make sure you get your ticket because it's really where you want to be. We're going to grow spiritually, emotionally. We're going to grow in our business and our brands. And you might say, well, I don't know what I want to do yet. Good. That's where you need to be. A fresh place, a fresh start. Hey, Columbia. Hey, Kina. Hey, Patricia. You guys come on in. Thank you so much. Please share this broadcast. I want to share with whoever you want to share it with, your friends, your family, your loved ones, because we're going to talk about branding our vision and what that looks like and some things that we've overcome. We're just going to give a little bit this week because we don't want to give everything that we're going to give on Saturday, of course. But thank you so much for joining and coming in. I have a special guest with me tonight. None other than Natasha Brown Watson. She is a sought-after speaker, a storyteller. She's a book publisher of faith leaders. She's a celebrity ghostwriter and brand coach to hundreds of brands for over 15, 20 years. She's been doing this for a long time. So she has a lot of wisdom. She's going to bring us some clarity and just a wealth of knowledge. And I'm just super excited to introduce her. A little bit about me before we even get into that. For those of you who are just joining, I'm a business coach, a speaker, and I own a Caressa agency, which is a marketing, media, and brand company. And so I decided to create this for you so that you can just kind of go into 2022 with just new mindset, new thinking, not starting over per se like a new life, but really just diving in and to merge it into the next dimension for what God has for you. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Natasha Brown Watson. Hi,
Natasha. Hello, Caressa. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Oh, you know, I am excited, honey.
You like the takeoff. Today is the first day. So
listen, I looked at that lineup. I said, oh, Lord, this is going to be good. I'm going to be here every night right in front of my screen and taking notes because you have such a power pack week planned ahead for people. So I'm excited for everybody who's out there viewing.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining. So Natasha, let's dive right on in, right? Tell me about your personal journey to branding the vision.
Wow, my personal journey to branding the vision. That's such a great question. I want to say, I probably talk about 5 things really quickly that I had to do to really get in the mindset and to be positioned to brand the visions that God had given me. Number one, I had to change my life and change my environment. Caressa, you know my story. Some of you out there do as well. But when I really, when I started in this branding industry, I was a college professor at the time. Yes. I had a company called Think Brown Inc. and we did PR and media and a lot of marketing work for high profile people all over the nation, artists, NFL, NBA players. During that time, things seemed to be going fine for quite a while, but then I hit a really bad point in my life because of the people that I allowed in my life. And I found myself in a very abusive relationship, a toxic relationship. And actually 8 years ago, yesterday and today actually was the most horrible day of my life, Caressa. On January 2nd, of 2014, me and my ex at the time of that toxic relationship, we were going to just drop off a money order for his daughter, and somebody attacked him out of nowhere, tried to kill him. I was there, tried to stop it, and my life turned upside down. And that was only the tip of the iceberg, Caressa, because after that they framed me for attempted murder. And so
Girl.
for 9 months I found myself living a double life. Really, it was going on before that because this relationship was terrible. God had given me many signs to change my environment so that I can change my mindset, but I was disobedient, wanting to do what I want to do. So I want to say that you have to change your environment, change your mindset. And you can't change your mindset, you can't get in a position to brand your vision, the God-given vision, until you change your environment, get out of toxic situations. And so with me, I was fighting a double life, fighting for my freedom, and also in my home as well as in the legal system, and then also just still trying to maintain my public image as this person that people knew from the news and from really amazing events and philanthropy and all these things, the radio. And so I was living this double life that no one knew about. But how many people know we can think we're living in purpose? I was a business owner, had been in owning my business full time for years. People knew my name. I had a following, and I thought I was doing the daggone thing, but God knew otherwise. And so that situation made me go deeper with God, and I began to ask him some hard questions up until the point he delivered me. And he delivered me, and it became my first book, called 10 Blessings of Betrayal, a spiritual journey of rebuilding through tragedy. And from that situation and me being obedient, writing that book. And so obedience is going to be a big key for you in order to brand your vision, right? Obedience. You got to listen to the voice of the Lord. And so from me then listening to God, I was in this dark place, and I said, Lord, what can I do not to be so bitter anymore? How am I going to get out of this place of anger? How am I going to get out of this place of despair? And God told me, start to write. And so I began to write, Caressa, and God just started to reveal my journey to me in the form of blessings. And that book became, that journal entry actually became my first book, 10 Blessings of Betrayal. And when he told me to publish, I was super scared. And I was, but God, people are threatening my life if I tell this story. People were calling to intimidate me. The enemy wanted me to be silent. So I need you all to write down the third point. Are y'all following me? The first point was change your life and environment. The second point was to be obedient to God, and the third point was to not give in to fear. Don't be silenced by fear. Let's put it that way. Don't be silenced by fear. What do I mean? What do we mean, Caressa? We mean that when you step out to do something that God told you to do, it's never going to be easy. You're going to be hit with opposition. And so what you cannot do is allow the snakes and the devils and the demons and the haters to get in your head to make you think that you need to be silent. Because guess what? I received phone calls threatening me. If you publish this book, I'm going to kill you. My name was slandered on social media. My hashtags were invaded. Naked pictures that I did not knew existed from my ex was put out about me on social media. I had to go through the struggle, go through the fire. It got so real. I had to put out restraining orders right before my book came out. Okay, it got serious, y'all. And so what you got to do is you got to do what you got to do what God told you to do. Let me say it again. You got to do what you got to do what God told you to do. So you got to go hard for your God-given vision. Go hard to brand your vision. After that, Caressa, I would say once I was in a good space and God used that book to catapult me into working with women, into writing books for people. He connected me with amazing mentors in the publishing industry and in the faith world. And I just realized that he was calling me deeper. He was calling me to minister. He was calling me to be a ghostwriter. And I've been able to, by the grace of God, be the top Christian ghostwriter to some of the voices that you listen to on your radio, to some of the people that you watch on your TV. And God blessed me and just gave that to me. And it was almost like David, how David had that gift and he could go into the palace with that gift. God gave me a gift of storytelling. He gave me a gift of writing, and that has then allowed me to navigate in these different spaces. And so in that, the next thing I would tell you is that I had to find my niche. I had to find my niche. I had to find, because when I was with my previous company, Think Brown Inc., remember I told y'all we work with everybody. We will work with the pastor one minute, the rapper the next minute. I had about 5 DJs on my roster. I had some kid artists. I managed a celebrity fashion designer, was writing TV scripts, was writing PSAs, was doing all types of stuff. I was doing it all, website design. I was teaching myself how to do everything and literally running myself dead, running myself in the ground, trying to be a jack of all trades. But listen, you got to be a master. You have to master your craft. You cannot be a jack of all trades and think that you're going to truly brand your vision in the appropriate way. Now you can do everything. Like, so what that did for me, having all that experience in my background, it now allows me to run my organization in a holistic way and help people start and run their organizations, put the framework behind it. It lets me navigate these spaces and talk about things and give marketing plans without necessarily having to brand myself as all those things. So you have to master your craft and find your niche. And then you need to find your target audience. Remember, I told you that the Lord then began to put me with faith people, put me with people of faith, give me this word of inspiration in my belly, and I couldn't shut up. I remember when Periscope came out in 2015, and that was the year that God truly delivered me from all that stuff that happened in 2014. And that was the year my book came out. All I wanted to do was talk about Jesus. All I wanted to do, I had a branding company, I had a book, I had all these things, but the only thing I wanted to do was talk about Jesus. And God had told me the year prior, Natasha, why are you trying to make a name for yourself in the world when I called you a communicator for Christ?
Whoa.
And so you all might see that hashtag, you might hear me say that, because that's what God ordained me and anointed me to be, a communicator for Christ. So I had to find my niche. I had to realize that I don't need to try to make the rappers successful. I love them. I'm a minister to them. I'm going to give them a good word of inspiration. I remember I had a client that was a big time celebrity on like one of the Real Housewives, no, the Basketball Wives show, and came into town and would do events for celebrities like that. And I remember one of these clients was so cruel to me. People would be so mean to me, and I would be like, but Lord, why are they so mean to me? Now, this is my previous life before the 10 blessings era. And you know, God told me at that time, stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to be like that. Stop trying to be on MTV, because you know I interviewed with MTV, mama. Okay, you know I used to work on the scenes of popular TV shows. Like, I wanted to be that girl. Okay, but God told me, no, you're a communicator for Christ. So you have to figure out your target audience. Who does God want you to speak to? Who is he sending you to? Because he's sending you to a people, and your voice, your brand, your business was for that people. It's made for that people. All your experiences are going to allow you to operate in authority with that people. So you got to know your target audience. And then lastly, I would say what has really helped me to brand my vision is to be consistent. You cannot build a brand without consistency. And I'm not even there yet, y'all. I got so much going on that it's hard sometimes to be consistent in areas where I want to be. But listen, you cannot be successful. I know it for me. I'm preaching to myself. You cannot be successful if you are not consistent. Success comes after you can be. You can literally do something every day, a little bit. 1% is going to get you the life you want. You can do 1% more.
Mm,
Encourage you to do 10%, 100%, but you can do 1% more, one thing a day. And I used to do a talk called "What's Your One Thing?"
mm.
What's your one thing that you will do to make your brand come to life? One thing, my friend, my good friend, our good friend Takitha, she
Mm.
always says something. She says, God is going to put his super on your natural. So
Yes.
what can you do in the natural to make your brand propel for this year?
Natasha, you came with it. I'm like, great day. You
That's
are
God, honey.
super excited. You know, we're very passionate about this. But let's go back because you were telling your story. I want to make sure people understand this. When you were talking about telling your story, if we look at it, your life was not perfect as you was growing in purpose. You said that you started your brand and really going into it, and you literally was about to be locked up for life for attempted murder.
Ma'am.
A lot of us think like, oh, well, this is going on. I'm overwhelmed by this, and I got this job. Ma'am, she was on her way to jail, to prison. You get what I'm saying? But she still was stepping into what it was that she was called to. Listen to that. Step into what you're called to, no matter what hell you are going through in your life at the time. It is crazy. We are in crazy times, right? But are we going to dwell on COVID? It may be difficult, right? Are we going to dwell on our house situation? Are we going to dwell on our ex? Are we going to dwell on if the relationship is working right? Or are we going to step into our destiny and what it is that we're called to? So not only was life not perfect for you, but you evolved and grew. Who you are today, I know, I'm a witness. Who you are in 2022 is not who you were in 2016 and 2017. And sometimes we see our future, right, vision, and we're like, well, this is where we are now, instead of just starting where we are. If you were to dwell on what you thought 2022 or 2023 may look like, if that would have been your focus, you would not have even started where you were, right?
No.
You literally just was where you were, and you took it a day at a time. And so many of us all the time are dwelling on our current circumstance and trying to make that run our life.
Yeah.
Your current circumstance don't run nothing. Your current circumstance has no power. Okay. Your current circumstance is powerless compared to where you're about to propel to. And
Yeah.
so I know there's so many people on here who are sitting on something. I'm going to talk about that on Saturday. We're sitting on something because of our current situation or our environment. Natasha said, change your environment. You know, even if that's taking a walk every day, you might be like, well, my house is my house. I can't get out. This is where I live. These are my kids. Even if you take a walk every day and begin to meditate, even if you walk for 20 minutes and you pray, even if you take a second and you get a diffuser and you get some lavender and you just kind of zone out and be like, okay, what is that one thing that I can do today that's going to help me propel forward tomorrow? That's what we do so that we're not stagnant and we're not stuck. So it's like, what do you do? Because faith without works is dead. And so a lot of us are stuck because we have no works.
Yeah.
We have no works because we're complaining. And when we're going through difficult things in our life, we are moaning, but we're not mourning. There's a difference between moaning and mourning. And so when you're going through difficult times, mourn, right? You have to what? I always say, feel it so that you can deal with it, so that you can heal it. Okay, so that you can move forward into what it is. It does not mean bad things are happening. You were on your attempted murder. That's huge. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
I
saying?
would have gotten 25 years if I would have been convicted. And I remember so many things were going wrong at first. Back then I didn't have no money like that, and I couldn't get a good lawyer. So I had a public defender, and y'all know you going to jail with a public defender. Okay. God, like, grace to those who have them. But I wouldn't put my money in Prince George's County public defenders. So God just began to pray. And I wasn't the Natasha y'all see now, the spiritual Natasha. I was, I believed in God and I called myself a Christian, but I did not live like a believer. I didn't read my Bible. I prayed when I needed something. I read a psalm maybe once a month. It was like, I went to church on Christmas and Easter. I wasn't this Natasha. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I remember praying, and the Lord began to I asked him to send me people, and he began to send people to me. And one of my cousins had worked with an attorney, a defense attorney that was a beast. Okay. And so she was like a light for me at that time. And she came, and when I went in her office and she heard my story. She knew who I, found out who I was. Girl, I remember one day before I met with her, I was on Fox 5 in DC, and just had a really big interview for this festival that I was the director of. And I showed her the clip, and I was like, this is me. Like, I'm not this girl, I'm this person. And I just gave her my resume. Like, I was like, you got to get me off because I don't belong in nobody's jail. And she was like, I'm going to get you off. You are not going to jail for this. I got you. And I paid her. And God gave me the money to pay her from that festival contract. Listen, no, it was half of the amount, I want to say. It might have been the exact amount. God is so faithful, of this contract that I got to run a festival. Okay. Paid for my lawyer. And so you never really know. And I wanted to touch on something that you said, Caressa. You said a lot of people were like, if I would have been trying to look at what would happen in 2022, back in 2014, I couldn't have saw it. Like I'm a different person. It's a different life,
A whole different person, different you, different mind, different spirit, just
everything. Caressa, do you know I walk around my house now and I just thank the Lord all day. I was telling my husband yesterday, I said, this is so surreal to me to know who I used to be. I used to live in like a cramped up space, and environment is really important to me for what I do because I'm a thinker. So I have to have a good environment, I have to have open spaces and windows and like everything that God allowed me and my husband to meet quickly, marry quickly, get in position quickly, build a house quickly. And now we have this beautiful house that I'm able to just work, you know what I'm saying? And I was looking at it yesterday, just walking through the house, working in one area, going in the den, working, then going downstairs, working and hanging out with my mother-in-law, just having space.
Yeah.
And I said, thank you, Lord. This is unbelievable that you would be so faithful to me. Like, I would have never pictured my life like this back then, you know?
And like you said, it all happened quickly.
It happened quickly, suddenly. Me and my husband have the suddenly anointing on our lives. And so it happened suddenly. But there's something that does not happen suddenly. Let me say this. In the book of Exodus, I want to say, I wish I would have had this scripture prepared, but I want to say that God or a prophet was speaking to maybe Joshua. I know my sister Batrina is on here. She'll know what I'm talking about. But there's a verse that says that God is going to drive out your enemies little by little. He's not going to do it all the time. So it works the same with our souls. God is going to drive out the enemies of your soul little by little, the enemies that are going against your vision, your purpose. Because I remember in 2015 when God told me to publish that book that I had been writing, I was scared. I didn't think about publishing it. I thought I was just writing in my journal. But God said, no, publish it. And I said, but I'm scared, God. I'm getting death threats. Nobody's going to want to work with me anymore. If they know what I've been through, they're not going to want to trust me as their PR person. How can I tell this story? And so then he said, just do it. So finally I said, okay, like Moses, I had to go back and forth for a few times. Moses said no to God 5 times before he said yes, right? And so I said no a couple of times, but then God just started to give me confirmation that all would be well. And then I said, well, Lord, if you want me to speak for you, if you want me to talk about blessings, you have to help me stop cursing. Because back then I cursed like a sailor, y'all. I didn't have any cut cards. Now it's like when I hear a curse, I be like, oh, why you have to say it like that, girl? You could have said it another way. But back then, I would cuss you out quickly. And I said, okay, Lord, well, I need to stop cursing. I can't be speaking for you if I'm a curse. So he said, okay, you want to stop cursing? Then stop watching what you're watching and stop listening to what you're listening to. So I thought I was going to be like a month or 2 months. No, 6 years. And I listened to no secular music. I watched no television. My husband will tell you, I wasn't even watching TV when we met. Okay, which was 7 years after that. But I did not watch TV, nor did I watch secular TV. I stopped watching Scandal, which was like my favorite show. I stopped watching that. I stopped watching my other favorite show, Law and Order. I stopped listening to all the rappers that I loved, all the trap music. I stopped listening to go-go, all of that stuff, because God said that's how you're going to stop cursing. But
so that you have to clear the noise so that you could hear.
Clear your eye gates and your ear gates. And then God began to drive out other things little by little. I used to be a smoker. I was preaching the word of God and smoking. And I said, God, I don't want to smoke no more.
Listen, we have stories. I'm personally, I'm just not a smoker, but we have stories. We were grinding in the beginning, getting things done. And Tasha's like, well, wait, I got to take a break. I'm like, oh, okay. So she is telling the truth. Like, Listen, a lot
God
of us
broke
don't.
that habit. He
Yes,
broke it. He changed
yes,
my desires. Made me hate the way it tastes like, hate the way cigarettes smell. Like I can't even be around them. Weed, I can't take it. Like I can't be around. I can't even listen to the music anymore. Not saying that I'm better than anybody. Wherever you are, that's where you are. I am not the one. Listen, my favorite scripture, there is therefore now no condemnation for
yeah,
those who are in Christ Jesus, who do not walk according to the flesh, but of the spirit. That's my favorite scripture.
mhm,
There's no condemnation. Okay, so I'm not the one to judge, but I can
yes.
tell you that God drove out the enemies of my soul little by little, which allowed me to truly focus and do the things that I'm able to do today.
And those things were hindrances in your life. We all have our own convictions, if you will, but those were things that were hindering in your life.
Yes.
But the overall, I just love how you shared, like, hey, I wasn't perfect. My life was crazy. It was upside down, but I still walked into what it was, not knowing how to do it. You didn't really have a roadmap, but you literally evolved and changed year after year, month after month. Where your business and your brand is today is not where it was 4 years ago and 5 years ago. And you have been in the industry for a very long time. From you writing a book to now having a publishing company in the last 6 7 years, that's like drastic. So sometimes we know where we want to be, right? But we look at the long shot. Start where you are now, fulfilling your own unique purpose, your own unique calling, right? Your own unique gifts, talents, skills, right? And even anointing. You walk into to that right now, and you will evolve and grow into bigger and even bigger and better things.
Yes.
Natasha.
Can
So
I say one thing?
yes.
Based on what you just said, so I thought I always had a dream to be an author. Like since I was a
Mhm,
kid, I wanted to be an author, and I wanted to
mhm,
like have a communications company where I could work from the beach. Like that was my dream. And
mhm.
so now I have that, but I never thought that God would want me to be a publisher. And so Ephesians 3:20 says that God will do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or imagine, according to his power, the power that works in us. And so God's power working in me has allowed me to do things that I never thought that I would do, from going to writing one book, wanting to write one book, to now publishing over hundreds of authors, coaching thousands of authors, writing best-selling books, co-authoring with celebrities, like all of these things, training people, coaching, speaking, writing retreats, that I never imagined. So God is going to take what you give him and multiply it, multiply it. So you just have to start where you are. Don't look at what you do not have. Start with what you have, because everything that you need is already in you. I was already a writer and already a storyteller, and God took that and my obedience and literally multiplied it to something that I don't even I wouldn't have recognized years ago.
So you saying that basically changing your environment and obedience led you to abundance.
Yes, girl. I like that. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Basically, using the keys that you said led you to overflow and led
Amen.
you to suddenly.
Yes, ma'am. And suddenly doesn't happen suddenly, y'all. Let me tell
Right.
you.
Right.
Suddenly, public suddenly looks suddenly, but suddenly is a result of preparation.
Mhm.
It's a result of strategy.
And process.
Suddenly, yes, suddenly is a result of strategy, preparation, and process, because all of those things allow you to be positioned for suddenly. So because I knew what, like, once God got me on this path and I started to be obedient, he began to reveal things to me. I was like, okay. I remember I went to Tanzania as a missionary for 6 months right before COVID. And I was a theological educator, a Bible teacher at a college, a Bible college. And I remember before then, I had prayed for my husband. I was praying for a husband, but I was never like, Lord, I need a husband. I was good, y'all. I was like, not that chick, right? But
Mhm.
in Africa, in this, traditional society, and seeing these couples and it was so hard. You know what I mean? So hot and dry and just hard and lonely sometimes. I remember one night crying out to God about when he was going to allow me to connect. I've been obedient, God. I went to seminary because you told me to. I gave up these things. I followed you. I'm speaking for you. I'm writing for you. I'm doing all these things. Now, when are you going to do this one thing for me? And God
Mhm.
was like, you're not ready. I was like, what do you mean I'm not ready? He said, you're not ready. And he had me study Ephesians 5 for real. And he told me that people are so concerned with their world, with getting what they want, when we need to be concerned with his world. We need to be concerned with his desires, and not just, wanting a husband or wanting a spouse, but actually understanding what it means to follow God and to serve a spouse, what it means to be mutually submissive, and also the wife to be submissive, what it means to have respect for your wife as a husband. For your husband as a wife, what it means as a husband to truly love. God says, love your woman like Christ loves the church. Wash her with the water by the word. And so, what does that mean? And he said, that's the type of man I'm sending you, but I'm also sending you a man who cares about his physical body. He's going to be in shape. He's going to be well together. So you focus so much on teaching the Bible. You focus so much on business. But when's the last time you worked out? When's the last time you got your stuff together? And so he told me to prepare. And I went home, and every day in April of 2020, God woke me up at 4:44 a.m. And he woke me up, and 4 is the number of creation. So during the 4th month of the year, he woke me up at 4:44 to spend time with him. And he began to tell me I needed to begin to prepare. And I didn't know what, he didn't tell me what I was preparing for. So I just said, well, I don't know what I'm preparing for, Lord. And he said, just prepare. So I wrote down every area of my life, and I looked at the deficits, and I began to pray to God to give me the strategies to build. So he began to give me programs which allowed me to save lots of money. He began to bring people, like, remember, I was looking for an accountant. He sent me a really amazing accountant for my business, got some paperwork together. He started to send me friends and just different things. He gave me a strategy for my health. And I didn't, again, know what I was preparing for, but I was preparing for that suddenly marriage, that suddenly building of a house, that suddenly family. Now I have a new family, the suddenly move from Maryland to Houston. And I didn't miss a beat. Even through all that suddenly that was happening in my life from September to March of last year, I didn't miss a beat. But it's not by me, it's by God's power. And so we have to really, really be in a posture. I wrote something like this the other day, but this year, God is really requiring those who he plans to catapult to be literally in a posture ready to receive from him, a posture of hearing him, of listening to him, of being sharpened. He's going to tell you what to sharpen. If you're supposed to be a financial consultant, then you got to sharpen yourself in that area. If you're a barber, you got to get great. You got to go from good to great in this season. And God has really been speaking to me about that. And he, even just fasting, just starting a fast for a few days, God has given me like a blueprint for some years, like legacy strategy. So he's going to do it,
It's funny when you were talking about that before you start even talking about listening or hearing. I was just thinking about that, how some people may be on here or listen to the replay. They may say, well, I can't hear God, right? Or I don't know what's next, or I don't know what I'm called to do, or I don't know what my vision is. If you take these keys, like when Natasha was sharing about changing your environment, or even if you're working out, right? And you're working out, you're on the treadmill, maybe not listen to music and just be quiet, right? As time goes on, you'll begin to have thoughts that are not your own, or you'll be able to I tell people all the time that I make myself aware. So every moment of my life, I'm aware. So if somebody walks across the street and says something, if somebody is kind to me at the grocery store, if you may not audibly hear the voice of God per se, but he's talking. So pay attention and make yourself aware of situations, of things, of your environment, of your relationships, of your friendships. And when things begin to just turn you off, or when things start to annoy you, right? That might be a sign that you don't need to no longer be affiliated with something, or something about the situation is wrong for you. It might not mean that a particular person is bad. They just might not be good for you or where you at right now in your life. And so just pay attention to the signals. Make yourself aware so that you can hear what your next is and what you're called to and what your destiny looks like ahead of you. Start right here where you are. Open up your ears and listen so that you know how to move forward. So Natasha, where do you see personal life and business branding moving forward in the future?
Definitely stories. Stories are going to be your cash cow. I don't know why I came up with that,
Yeah.
that analogy right there. But yes, stories are going to be where you really excel, where we really excel. And
Mhm.
whether it's writing a book, but it's really everyday storytelling because that's how we connect. Today, I was editing or proofreading a book from one of our authors who's from Africa. And she
Mhm.
was talking about how in that culture of her tribe, it's like storytelling is how things are passed down. You know what I mean? And so, even in parts of Africa, when they were colonized, they took away their main means of learning by trying to teach them a Western system of learning things that they didn't know. Because that's what they value, but stories is what they value. They value narratives and folk tales, and things like that. And it's still the same today. We can connect with anybody from around the world by finding
Yeah.
a shared experience or an interesting experience that someone's interested in. So just identify your stories. Where do I see also just even being well positioned? You know, me and Caressa talk about this all the time because I have a motto: not don't wait until it's perfect before you go public. I'm
Mhm.
one that if I hear the voice of God, I'll pray on it and I'll just put it out. And I don't always have the finances to make it look the way I want it to look, but I'm
Mhm.
going to put it out. My friend Caressa here, I love her because she's luxury. So she like, ma'am, you got to make it look a little bit better than that. This is bomb, but it don't look good. And so I would say you have to find the balance in not
Mhm.
being paralyzed by perfectionism, but also not procrastinating where you miss the wind of God. So you got to be in the right timing. So and as we go forward, seasons are going to be really important. It's going to be important to sow what you need to sow in this season so that you can reap the harvest that you're supposed to reap in the next season. It's going to be important to literally be at the feet of God so you can hear what is important in the marketplace, in your industry. Who, like, he gives us those strategies. What's important to your people? You're going to need to be able to connect with your people and hear from them. Listen, like a lot of times we do marketing and we talk at people, but marketing is really just like prayer, a two-way
Mhm.
conversation where you have to listen. You're not just talking at people when you market to them, when you're telling your story, you're listening to their stories, you're identifying what to say, how to say it, which medium to use, and all of that. And then of course,
Mhm.
where you take people, Caressa, your gifting is making it look good, especially in the kingdom. You know, we don't have to, you again, be rich and famous and all of that in the kingdom,
Yeah.
but we do need to come with excellence. We need to represent God well. Don't put out any old thing and say,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm representing God. Ma'am, God does not look that way. He is not a rusty, dusty old God. God is owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And so we need to be working with Caressa J. I gotta call you for my next photo shoot, by the way. We need to be working with you to really make what we're doing look good.
Yeah. It's funny. I was the one to put that comment that 2022 will require you to act quickly. So I do believe that for 2022, whatever we know that we need to do, whether it's launch an event, whether it's to go live, whether it's to go talk to somebody, whether it's to go, lend a helping hand, act quickly on it because you will. There's just going to be something on that, right? Your favor is going to come out of nowhere. I mean, 2022 is just an act quickly year. Okay.
Mhm.
Also, when you were talking about just the branding part, yes, sometimes you just have to launch out and do it, whether it's perfect or not. You definitely want to make it attractive, but if you don't have all of the things, so someone told me the other day, well, I don't have a website. Well, get a PDF, okay? Or I don't have nothing but a headshot. I don't have all that. Well, let's start with the headshot, right? Start with use what you have if it's going to help somebody get to where they need to be. If you have a message, right? You need to get your message out. You might not really have it all together, but like Natasha said, if you have your story, people will connect with your story and you'll be able to launch out with that, and people are going to just come to you like never before. So 2022 is an act quickly year. You want to make sure that you're moving forward no matter what it is. How many of you, including myself, are sitting on something right now? And I'm going to talk about that on Saturday. What are you sitting on? What is it that you keep talking about at all the retreats and all the lives and comment on people's page, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that? 2022 is launch year. 2022, you have to get up and do what it is that you've been sitting on. People aren't waiting on you anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People aren't waiting on you anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody else will pick up what you let down and
Mm-hmm.
they'll move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You want to move forward and you want to pick it up and you want to do what you're called to do, because somebody's life, somebody's business, somebody's whatever is waiting on that, and they need your unique gift.
Yes.
And that's the thing. You have to act quickly because your uniqueness. That also goes with the branding part. When it comes to like not really waiting on perfection, of course, but your uniqueness. Me and Shanae was talking about this today. If my style is luxury, then I remember one time, y'all, I was like, the people want somebody that's down to earth, right? They want somebody who they can relate to. So I went on live, y'all, and I was looking a hot mess, right? Because I thought I was related. I'm like, well, I don't feel like it. And Patrina was like, you still have your brand. You get what I'm saying? So you might still have to put on a lipstick. You might have to still put on some lip gloss. You might still you can connect, but you still have to be you. And
Yep.
so some of you might be feeling like what your you is, what your uniqueness is. It may not be like those other 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
Be you. Because you are what's going to change. You are what's going to build momentum. You're going to help someone flourish in their life by being uniquely you. If you got a little swag with you, if you got a little list, if you got a little, you dress a little fancy, if you like name brand stuff, be you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they think.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about this on Saturday about the opinions of other
My
people.
God.
Act quickly.
Mm.
Be free.
Mm.
Okay. 2022, be free. It's really not us changing our identities per se. It's really walking in your identity and your trueness of who you are. And you walking in the trueness of who you are is really what's going to change your own life, right?
Yep.
Just be you. Oh my gosh, I feel that you have to be you. And when you're your own self, all the imperfections,
Yeah.
all the stuff that you don't like. The other day, I was like, I don't even know if I like myself. Like, it was a big thought. But I'm like,
Mm.
but just because they might not like me, I like me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just because that might not be their style. This is my style.
Yeah.
And so you have to own it because you were given that for a reason. So
Mhm.
own who you are, own your identity, own that you may not know what 5 years down the line looks like right now, but brand the vision that God has given you.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I don't know what that is, change your environment, begin to make the changes that you feel like is going to clear your space, and really just put yourself in a place of hearing and, go to the next place. Natasha?
Yeah, you said something that was so key. You reiterated the change in your environment. And so one of my sisters in Christ, Andrea's on here, and she said, God speaks to me the most when I'm running and I can hear him more clearly. And
Yeah.
so we can all hear God and we all have a way. God meets each of us in a different way. And so if running is your thing, my thing is walking, you know what I mean? Walking around water. So we have a lake by our house and I try to walk around that lake as much as possible. Whatever your thing is, God will come and meet you where you are. And the other thing I wanted to say is, don't watch this video or all these videos all week and begin to think like, but I'm not ready, or I'm not there, or I don't have what they have. I don't think like they think. I don't know what they know. Again, you have exactly what you have. God knew you before he formed you in your mother's womb. He knew exactly what sets of giftings and callings and talents and passions and interests were going to make up you. And so those things are who makes you you, and how you're going to really brand yourself successfully and through the power of the Holy Spirit. The last thing I wanted to mention is, I want to caution against really trying to be in this rat race to try to create, put out stuff just to put it out. Like, okay, Caressa and Natasha said go. They said don't wait. But that doesn't mean don't be strategic, don't listen, and don't pace yourself, and don't really know what you're supposed to be doing. Because what we don't want to do, again, seasons are important. What we don't want to do is just put out something just because we feel like we need to do something. We feel like we need to be seen. We feel like we need to build our brand. Sometimes your first step is going to be all the time behind the scenes. You might not have started yet, but that's why you're here. So right now you're in the research phase. You're gathering information. Then you're going to pray on what you gather. You're going to ask God to reveal what it is where do you need to cast your net. In the New Testament, the disciples had been fishing all night. They didn't catch any fish. But then Jesus came and Jesus said, cast your net on the other side. And then they got an abundance of fish. And so as you sit at the feet of Jesus and really get the information that Caressa is going to be sharing all week, and look at the interest that God is giving you, ask him where you should cast your net, and watch how you are able to have an abundance. And it could be just one thing, because God can multiply that one thing. So don't just go rush and put something out because you feel like you're behind or you feel like you got to. Do what you're supposed to do, not just anything.
Yes, 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 yes. That is so good. Do y'all have any questions before we get off of here? We said a whole lot.
Yes, register for the master class. Thank you
Yes,
for putting that
yes.
master class
Thank
link.
you. I was just looking for the link. Do y'all have any questions or comments? Like, I just want to make sure, like, as we start, what I don't want to do is feel like I don't want you to get fluff. I really want you to get practical tools and information that is going to help you walk into what it is that you're already ready for. You know, some of us may feel like, well, I'm not ready. You're ready. You're ready. Even if that is just being more visible, even if that is studying and preparing. Some of you have talents and skills, but you need to study. It's okay. Everybody's not meant for maybe college or school or whatever, but you still need to study your craft. You still need to see what other people are doing so you know what not to do. Sometimes one of my biggest lessons sitting under people and following people was, oh, I don't want to do that, or I can do this. I've learned a whole lot, especially in the last 2-3 years. Like, take on what you want to take on and then leave the rest behind. And study everything right now, because you know where you want to go. I always knew I wanted to be an influencer. I wanted to, change lives. And so I began, well, God allowed me to just start being around people who were influential in their own unique way. And I start taking things that I thought were great and then putting everything else to the side. So learn the lessons now. Pay attention. Make yourself aware. This Saturday, as y'all know, right? January 8th, 2022 at 10 a.m. We're launching the first Brand the Vision masterclass. I'm super excited. There will be some spiritual development. There will be some business development, which I know you really, really want to know, right? I'm giving all the tea, the gems. We're going to talk about how to increase your streams of income. We're going to talk about using what you have, which may be nothing right now in regards to branding, right? And how to start, okay? Some of you are like, I just need to know how to start. Some of you are like, hey, I've been sitting on this thing for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, or even a week, and I don't know what to do. We're going to talk about all of that this Saturday. The link is in here on Eventbrite. You can even go to Eventbrite and just type in Brand the Vision Masterclass. I want you there. I'm not going to put no limit on it. It'll at least be an hour or two, but I want to answer your questions that are there. Honestly, this is the lowest price thing that I have right now for 2022. So this is where you can get live information, learn about business and branding, and get whatever you want. All the questions, let me pick your brain. This is where you can do that at. I'll be super excited to share any information, wealth, and knowledge that I have, as well as even open up an opportunity for you to work with me one-on-one. This is something that I want to just launch, at the beginning of the year. I think that all of us have some type of vision or goal or dream. Why not have a life and business that's bigger than your dreams, right? Natasha talked about the word and exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. And even though right now I'm not in a perfect place, but I am in a place that's exceedingly abundantly above what I can ask or think of. And so that's something to be excited about. That's something that I can share with you, that if you begin to take this step, and it may just start with this masterclass, that's your investment. Natasha knows we have been investing in ourselves and in our business and brands for years. There has been some type of life class, some type of tool, something that we have invested in every year to make sure that we are the best that we can be. And so I'm telling you, I'm giving you a wealth of knowledge, of education, certification, knowledge, just industry learning, just everything that I've learned over the last even 10 years. And so you will not regret it. Again, any questions you have in regards to business or branding, I will answer those at the masterclass. How to increase your streams of income, how increase your streams of income, how to get started, all of that great stuff. So thank you guys so much. Go ahead, Natasha.
I wanted to comment on what you just said because I've been thinking about this for a few minutes. But y'all, go to this class, sign up. Caressa has been one of my business besties. We sharpen each other since 2016. Okay, 2016 is when we met, and we've put together programs together. But one of the things that I always love about Caressa is that she always invested in herself, and she used to make me so frustrated because she wanted to do something for so long. I'm like, just do it. You got it. Yes. But she was literally sitting at the feet of the world's most brilliant minds. Like, and so she has invested in herself for so many years since I've met her, even before I met her. And she would just invest in coaching and training and classes and mass. I mean, I remember one time she's like, I'm going to pay about $2,000 for this one day class. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, girl, I can teach you that. Let me Google.
Right.
She doesn't take shortcuts. She's literally worked with the most brilliant minds. And so that's another thing. It's like you're getting all of her knowledge, as well as the girl is educated, like master level educated. Mm-hmm. But in addition to that, she knows this industry. She has an eye and she has her ear. She's always researching. She sends me stuff every day. Like, look at this, look at this, look at this. I like the way they do this. And she's always just gathering information so that she can help the people that she works with think luxury, brand luxury, be better, build better. I mean, and so I just love her, and y'all are going to gain so much as you come to her class on Saturday.
Thank you so much. I will say, you guys, follow Natasha online. ELOHAI International Media and Publishing company. You definitely want to do that. To go back to think luxury is a mindset. Mm-hmm. And so that's a mindset I took on for myself, as well as for my business. And so you guys got to think about it. If you say to yourself, what would Caressa do, right? Or what would I do? Think luxury. Mm-hmm. You respond to that. How would that change your life? Sierra asks, what is one specific action you would recommend for us to brand our vision in preparation for class for this weekend? I would say one, get a journal or a notebook and your pen. Begin to write down whatever comes to your mind, whatever industries you've ever wanted to work in, whatever ideas, whatever hobbies that you've had, talent, skills. In fact, get 3 lines, right? Talents, skills, gifts. Because sometimes to get to where you want to be, you have to start with a talent or start with a skill. I use my skill in personal development in human services to invest in my business. And so some of you are like, I'm ready to leave my job. Listen, stay on your job for now, mm-hmm. and invest in your business and use that skill or use that hobby. You may be great at your job, but you also do really, really good hair, or you actually, are really, really good talking to people and coaching them into doing something that maybe you've overcome. So we'll talk about that as well. So begin by writing your skills down, your hobbies down, your talents, and even maybe something that you feel like you're anointed at, right? I have an anointing of, I believe, just helping people get through difficult times. Okay. So that is something that I can use, maybe not in the forefront of business, but when a client or a coach is having a difficult time, it's like, hey, you can do it. You can push through this, right? And it all works together. You were like, well, I went to school. I have a bachelor's in social work. So how does that work with this and what I'm doing in business? It all works together. So nothing you have done is in vain. Natasha, would you have a writing degree, communications, all that stuff? Who would have known you was an adjunct professor that you were going to then have your own writing company, mm-hmm. Or publishing company? And so it all works together, y'all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So write down your skills, your talents, your gifts to prepare for Saturday. I'm super excited. If you have any questions, write down your questions now. There's no dumb question. I will answer every question, I promise, on Saturday that you have. It's going to be a group. It's going to be just friendly and open. And I'm just super excited to just work with you. If some of you, I don't know if you saw the video, but we had a great time in October at the retreat. It was phenomenal. And it's going to be kind of like that same feel and that same environment of just friendly, open. We all are on different levels, but we're just receiving each other just to learn and to hear. And so I'm praying that I will be able to deliver something to you that you know, okay, God heard me. So any questions you have, even if you have a question now, email it to me, info@caressaj.com, because I want to make sure that you get what it is that you need and that you're looking for. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have Winter Williams. She's a powerhouse in her own right. She's on Instagram at Winter Williams. Make sure you guys be here tomorrow, every single day for this pre-live event of Saturday. Again, the Eventbrite link is in there in the comments. You can also go to Eventbrite and type in Brand the Vision Masterclass. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys log on tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Facebook on my personal page.